On November 2nd, 2025, Six Flags America had its last day of operation. An unusual case in theme park history where a single ride doesn't close, but rather an entire park owned by a massive entertainment conglomerate. Well, at least for now it's unusual. What would become Six Flags America opened as a wildlife center in 1974, which included a drive-through safari called the Largo Wildlife Preserve until it closed in 1978. The property was then slowly converted from the Wildlife Preserve into a full theme park named Wild World in 1982. And then 10 years later in 1992, the park was acquired by Premier Parks and renamed Adventure World, which lasted until about 1999 when Six Flags acquired Premier Parks and the park was renamed to Six Flags America.
This is a hard hat area now, but in a few short weeks, once you pass these ticket booths, you're going to walk into a colonial village, complete with cobblestone streets, a bakery, and a replica of the Liberty Bell.
All of this is to say, this park has had a pretty bumpy ride for the past 50 years, and especially over the past 10 or 15 years, it's acquired a pretty negative reputation. For a long time now, the park has kind of been seen as just a budget option for locals who don't want to go to King's Dominion, Hersheypark, or Busch Gardens, parks that get a lot more attention by their respective owners. And ultimately, that kind of became a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more people who saw Six Flags America as a budget option, the less they would spend to go, and the less money Six Flags was willing to put back into the park. But the one upside is that it gives us a rare glimpse into a theme park that's been decaying for years, and now with its closure is being left to crumble even more. So what does a rotting theme park look like on its final day of operation? Arriving at the park's parking lot in the morning, things felt pretty weird. Maybe that had something to do with being able to see into the tattered remains of the water park to the left, which permanently closed back when the weather was still nice. And immediately upon entering the park, you could tell something was off. First off, all the stores lining the main entrance had signs reading clearance, 85% off, all items. And let me tell you, people were taking advantage of it. Walking into any of the stores, you were greeted with everything in ruins. Most of the shelves were completely empty, random merchandise was scattered on the floors, cardboard boxes stacked up in the corners full of stuff that had yet to be sold, and to top it off, all the stores had an ever-present stench of oil. Even though there were many cashiers on duty, the line to check out was often all the way through the store. Obviously, that's not to criticize the workers, they're doing the best with what they had, but my god, it was a shit show. So overall, that was quite the first impression, but we still haven't gotten any rides yet. As mentioned before, Six Flags America, it's not really known for high-quality attractions, and walking around, many of the smaller rides were just completely abandoned. As far as I understand, there were 3 operating roller coasters that day that generally are considered good. Joker's Jinx, an outdoor clone of the Flight of Fear attractions found at King's Dominion and Kings Island, Superman Ride of Steel, another clone of a ride found in Six Flags New England, and Wild One, a wooden roller coaster which is also the oldest operating coaster in the US, or well, it was, opening back in 1917. There's also Batwing, a flying coaster that has a bit of a cult following, but it closed permanently a couple of months ago. People were pretty upset about this because it was the last of the Vekoma Flying Dutchman model roller coaster, although personally, I don't think it's a huge loss because riding it makes me feel like someone's trying to crush my rib cage inside of a malfunctioning washing machine. Personally, I'd rather just ride the train, but I guess I'm lame.
You want to get on the train?
Nope. So naturally, once we arrived, I made my way right over to the Mind Eraser. Oh, sorry, the Professor Screedmore's Skywinder. Its new name.
We can get on this one. This one sucks.
And to be honest, the Mind Eraser is a much better name for it because holy mother of God, this ride is a lobotomy. It's almost a lie to call it a shaky ride. It thrusts you side to side like it's trying to break your spine. The whole thing rattles like the fucking New York City subway. This ride has always not been the best, but on its last day of operation, man, it was a nightmare to ride. Like, I swear this thing was better before.
It's not too bad.
I can't remember the last time I was on a ride at a theme park begging for mercy more than this one. Maybe the last time I rode Batwing. So, okay, wasted about 30 to 45 minutes waiting for that. Now it's time to do a good ride. Let's go do Superman. Trying to find our way over to Superman was a real challenge, because the park is laid out like something I would have made in Roller Coaster Tycoon when I was 8. Most of the popular rides exist in this little dead-end area of the park, which just makes it such a nightmare to figure out where you're going.
Is this maybe? Is this a line? How the fuck are we supposed to get to the back of the fucking park?
But anyway, here we are at Superman, right next to Batwing. And as we're waiting in line, we're realizing how slow it's taking, and that's because they're only operating one train. This line took about an hour and a half to get through, and it probably shouldn't have taken that long. To top it off, the speakers in the line just sounded absolutely terrible. But I mean, yeah, Superman, it's a good ride. It's a little rough, but for a ride this old, that's to be expected. And as we're coming out of one of the helixes, I noticed that there's a guy driving a golf cart underneath us, which is really weird because as far as I'm aware, when a roller coaster is operating, you're not supposed to do that. So I'm thinking, that's pretty weird. So we get off the ride and there's a huge group of people waiting by the exit. They're all staring at Batwing. I just assume that they're there to get photos of the ride. But as it turns out, as we were on Superman, someone climbed the lift hill for Batwing? Seriously. What's happening? Oh my God.
Let him go! Let him go!
This would break on.
This guy's gonna get arrested.
We just got off Superman. We're like, why is everyone standing over here?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was just people trying to get photos of Batwing, but I guess there's something more going on.
Oh, someone climbed the lift hill.
Seriously?
Someone climbed the lift hill and took pictures up there.
Holy crap.
Never put any money into this park. That's the problem.
Oh my God. Eventually the guy got arrested. Big surprise there. You know, of all the rides in the world that you could get a permanent ban from Six Flags for, Batwing has got to be pretty low on the list. So now we head over to the Wild One, the oldest operating roller coaster in the US. And in the time we'd been waiting for Superman, the lines had only gotten worse. As far as we could tell, the line for Wild One was at least 2 hours. And, you know, I'm gonna be honest, that just wasn't worth it. I know, the roller coaster people are gonna hate me for it, but you know, don't worry, we didn't let that time go to waste. We decided to go walk around and find the most depressing corners of the park. I'm not kidding. This is the most depressing corner of the whole park. There's still things left in the claw machine. What will happen to them?
Party pavilion popping off right now.
Yeah.
Let's see how depressing it looks inside.
You got the Coke machine still lit up.
But empty. Oh, it's kind of a mess in there.
Yeah, I wonder why. For the last ride of the day, we got on Joker's Jinx, which by this point had an acceptable line, probably about an hour. I'm gonna be honest, this is probably the best one that we went on. I kind of had an idea what to expect. I've been on the Flight of Fear rides before, which are essentially the same as this one. They use the same spaghetti bowl model, as it's called. But it was surprisingly smooth and surprisingly more intense than Flight of Fear. This one I will genuinely miss. Once we got out of line, we saw they had security preventing anyone from going any further into the park than they already were. You could tell they just wanted to shut everything down for the night. So we kind of had to just make our way out of the park. But to top it off, reportedly Superman broke down at the end of the night, and 2 hours worth of guests didn't get on their last ride. So that's great. And you know, even though this park is not particularly good, making our way out, I was still sad to see it go. Six Flags America is far from perfect, but it's had a long and rich history that means a lot to many people. Everybody there had come through to say goodbye to their favorite rides that they would never be able to experience again, unless it's a clone. I guess you can kind of do those again. It's unfortunate that Six Flags has let this park fall apart in the way it has, but it was clear that the team of employees working there on the last day were out to make the experience as special as possible. I would love one, thank you. And just like that, it was all over. This is how a theme park dies. Not with a bang, but a whimper. I'll see you later.